Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. I'm Andrea, and I'm Customer Experience Manager here at ProdPad, and we've got Kav, who's a product designer, and we're going to be showing you around some of the new stuff that we recently released around roadmap, so we're going to get right onto it. The first thing you guys will notice is that we have changed the way that you access your cards in general, so your completed roadmap and candidate section. And we're just unifying a little bit of the UI as we go. So you're going to see a little bit more of this as we put out some new changes. Another thing that is new, and you will be seeing more of this as well, is this new slide out. So this new slide out, as you guys know, already exists when you create a new idea, when you create a new piece of feedback, when you edit stuff. But this is new now for roadmap cards, and we are adding some new stuff as well for products and personas soon. So you're going to get used to seeing this editing slide out as we go. Some of the stuff is still pretty, I want to say, what's the word I'm looking for? It's all still there is what I mean. So we have a title, we have description. This is still an editor, so you have access to your images and your links as you need to. We have the attributes. The most important and the most exciting stuff here is the objectives. So as you guys know, we now have multiple objectives. So you can create as many objectives as you need by clicking on the Create New Objective button, type out your objective name or the objective color. If you are managing multiple products, you will have access to decide whether or not that objective belongs to the product or to the entire account. This is available on advanced plan and above, so you do have that availability to decide whether it's a global or a product-specific objective. And I see a quick question coming in, which is, how do we do a blocked by? This is all just, it's all just text, but you will also notice that each card has a unique URL. So you can actually grab that unique URL and then just paste it in. I'm actually writing a blog post about that. Keep an eye out for that tomorrow, Steve. So there will be details about how you do that if you're interested in dependencies. So Fleur should be putting out that, that blog post for us tomorrow. Going along with objectives here, we also have the ability to archive an objective. So you can click to edit any of your objectives and simply click on archive or delete. As always, just be really careful when you delete something. So I do believe we have a double confirmation just in case, because if you delete it, it will be completely disassociated from all your cards. So I always suggest go with archived. You will then see all of your archived objectives, and you can always unarchive them if you made a mistake. So no worries right there. Moving forward, tags are still there. We do have now access to add an owner to a card. Very soon you will also be able to add multiple owners. So that is coming shortly. You then have access to select the column and the visibility. And this has been released today, just a few hours ago, so super cool. You now have the ability to add the impact and the effort directly on the card. And that will show, I'm going to close this for a second, that will show right on the card right here as you hover. So big props to the ProdPad team for releasing this. I believe it was just 3 hours ago. So if you haven't seen it yet, there it is, and it is available for everyone. Moving forward, we now have the ideas and the user stories tabs available here. For the idea section, you have the ability to select what the list looks like, so you can toggle things on and off if you need to. And you will have that available right there for you to be able to see and change things as you go as well. For user stories, we have something a little bit different. So while you still can add user stories directly to the card, and of course you can search for them, you will also see all of the associated user stories. Now what this means is we will show all of the user stories that are attached to the ideas that are in the card. So whether or not you want the user stories there, it's completely up to you, but you can always add and remove them from the card as needed. The next section is discussions. So this is also new, but you can now have discussions. And of course, this is all an internal discussion with your team. You can still add members, format your questions, and that of course will appear on the discussions tab at the top right of the navigation. I see questions coming in. Are user stories new and how do they differ from ideas? User stories are not new. User stories have always lived within ideas. Think of the user story, or think of the idea as an epic, and the user stories are stories within the epic. So if you go to any of your ideas and go to add a new section, you will find the user stories option right there, so you can create one. And that is it for, I mean, I don't want to say that is it, but that's all we have to show you today. I know Cav has some stuff around some upcoming changes as well that he wants to talk about really quickly, and then we'll go on a quick Q&A.
So some of the stuff we have that's queued up for development and is going to be released over the next few sprints is the ability to customize your cards. So by that I mean, actually what content you actually want to show on this card. So this is on a per user basis. So if, for example, you're not interested in seeing a list of the ideas, or you don't need to see the description, you just want to see the title, you're going to be able to customize the cards completely so that you can kind of streamline your roadmap to show as little or as much detail as you like. We're introducing the ability to duplicate cards. So that's going to live up in here. So you can open this up and you'll be able to duplicate the card. One of the reasons for this is that actually a lot of people wanted to be able to, they have cards that live on multiple roadmaps for different products. So the ability to duplicate a card, and then we're also introducing the ability, which will live in here, to move cards between roadmaps. So you'll be able to duplicate a roadmap card and then move it elsewhere if required. So yeah, so that's kind of the other main bits that we've got upcoming.
Just to click there, I totally forgot about this, guys. You can now follow a card as well. There's been so many changes. So you can follow a card. What that means is you will just be subscribed to any of the changes to the particular card. So before you could subscribe to the entire product, now you can actually subscribe to a particular initiative, which is pretty cool. And of course, we also have revision history available. So any admins out there, if there's something you want to roll back, you have the ability to see all of the changes that have happened and just do it directly right there. We have a few questions popping in, so let's jump on that. How about duplicating ideas and user stories?
Yeah, so when we roll out I don't know if it's going to be rolling out at the same time or shortly afterwards, but the idea is that we're going to be introducing a duplicate function elsewhere in the product as well. So yeah, for example, duplicating ideas, duplicating user stories, and then the ability to move them between products is something that we're working on at the minute.
Cool. Topher, I saw your question in the community, and I did tag Cav on it, but arranging the columns differently. I know Cav has done quite a bit of research around why we go from right to left. So I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that, or if you just want to get back to Topher after. I
imagine it's something. Well, Jana and I had a big discussion about it, and so no, you're not going to be able to arrange the columns differently. But the idea that the reason that they're arranged in their current format is because it's the sort of horizon based. It's not like a Kanban board like Trello with left to right reading. It's actually the closer things to you are the more current, with obviously the things further away from you being more distant. So that's kind of the reasoning for and the logic behind the column ordering.
Cool. We have a question. Is there any plan to enable associating files directly with a user story? That is entirely possible. I don't want to make any promises, but I do know at some point we are looking at user stories.
Yeah, so some of we're doing a few little tweaks to user stories shortly. So like I mentioned, the ability to duplicate user stories and move them elsewhere to different ideas. We're also introducing the ability to reorder user stories.
I was going to say, dare we say reordering user stories?
No, that's a popular one that comes up a lot, so we're introducing that. But yeah, I'm not sure actually about associating files directly with the user story, if I'm honest.
Do we have any other questions, guys? Keep them coming. Quiet crowd today. Will we be able to multiple roadmaps?
Export, maybe?
I'm not sure I understand your question, Phil. Roadmaps for each department. Well, you can absolutely create multiple roadmaps right now. That isn't a problem. As a matter of fact, we have a roadmap for our product, ProdPad, of course, and then we have one for sort of biz ops, as we call it, so sales, marketing, and customer success. So you can absolutely do that, and then if you are on the advanced plan, you'll be able to take advantage of product lines. So I definitely suggest taking a look at that. We're struggling between tactical versus strategic use for the roadmaps, especially in the context of audiences. Are there any changes to the publishing options coming?
Not as yet. So when the project was kicked off, publishing, we kind of broke it down into various kind of areas that we needed to look at, which was like cards, the objectives, the on-page stuff. But the project was already quite a large undertaking, so we actually left publishing off for the time being, which we will come back to it at some point, I'm sure. Yeah,
I believe I heard Danielle say that it was halfway down the column to do. So don't worry, we are definitely going to tackle that shortly as well. Has the API been updated to query product line? Not yet, Phil, but I do know that the API is being updated. I did see the API request to update objectives, so don't worry, we'll definitely get to that. It is, Danielle just said it is. I'm not sure if that was an it is to the API or it is to the publishing, but something's being done.
Or it could be that it is to that it's awesome.
That is awesome. Yes, it is that it's awesome. Yes, the team has done a lot of work. So definitely props to them. Is there a demo in this presentation? This was not intended to be a demo, just to show you guys some of the changes that have been happening. If you do want to join a demo, we do have one scheduled for next week where we will go through the entire app. Thanks for bringing drag and drop back. You are welcome. Now you can drag and drop the entire card. That's another thing that's changed. For those that remember, you weren't able to drag and drop the entire card. There was a very, yes.
The ability, we've now got the ability to drag and drop between states. Has that been released? Or is that coming? I don't know if that's been released yet. Maybe that's not.
Oh, no, it hasn't been released.
But that's another thing that it's development and working on, the ability to actually drag and drop content, roadmap cards between states. So you can move a card from candidates to the roadmap via drag and drop, and obviously back, and the same to completed. So that is something that's coming also.
Here's an interesting question from Topher, and that would be definitely one for you, which is, can you talk about the considerations around having a slider versus a separate page?
So it just provides more context, I suppose. It's quite a common kind of user interface pattern. Click on something, expand it into more detail, but retain the context. I mean, if you're constantly diving in and out of separate pages, it might get confusing. You might need to retain information that you had on the initial screen, but moving away from that to a different page, you're going to lose that information. So actually being able to see some content with the other content behind is just a useful thing for many reasons.
I hope that helped, Topher. We have another question from Harold. Are there any plans to be able to manage user stories in a similar way to how ideas are managed? I'd definitely like to know what you mean by in a similar way, if you want to send us a little bit more feedback around that, Harold. But as Kav said, there are definitely plans to make improvements to the user stories section. Any other questions, you guys? Yeah, we're here. Let's give them a couple minutes. Oh, so like a workflow view for user stories. That's been requested a couple times, having a workflow specifically for user stories.
I haven't seen
You
that.
haven't seen it?
No.
I'll talk to Kavan about that. It's definitely helpful, I think, to be able to see user stories in the same kind of view as ideas. But yeah, we'll definitely have a chat with Kav about that one. So thank you for bringing that up. I can see how that would be helpful, definitely. A few more seconds before I start singing elevator music. Well, we don't, oh, nice changes, thank you. Oh, you're very welcome, Matt. It's nice to see you here. Well, we don't have any other questions about the roadmap changes or any other upcoming changes. I think we might call it a day. I'll give you guys another minute while I just talk and talk. But yeah, as I said, this was just, oh, here we go. Do you have any story map viewer plugin for story mapping? We do not have a story mapping view. Do you know of any story mapping apps?
Not that we integrate with. No.
Well, we have the API. So if there is a story mapping app that exists, you might be able to use the API, but that's an interesting one. Thank you, Anna. I'm glad you like it. Topher says, can you demo adding a new idea to an existing roadmap card? Absolutely, let's get onto that. So you would just click on the slider, click on the ideas tab, and you can click on the little search bar and either type the ID or type the name of the idea if you already know it. So that's how you would add the idea, and for user stories, you would be able to also find it based on title. Or as we mentioned, any associated user stories, which means the user stories that are linked to the ideas that are in the card. Will you have a graph view of dependencies? I know we have some ideas around displaying dependencies better. I don't think anything has been sketched out or discussed. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about streams.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. So we do have a new view, streams, S-T-R-E-A-M-S. So it's a new view that's coming. So you will have stacks, which is the view that you guys are seeing right now. And then streams will essentially kind of prop everything on its side. I know, Kav, you might be able to explain it a little bit better than me.
So streams is still broken up by the same sort of now, next, later kind of horizon columns, but you also have horizontal banding, much like a swim lane, with each objective being displayed in its own swim lane. So the idea being that you can get a view for which objectives you're currently working on, which ones are upcoming, which ones might not have any cards being worked on at the minute. So it kind of shows your priorities in terms of objectives and any sort of gaps in your strategy in like a slightly more streamlined and easier to digest view.
Yep. So I know that the team will be tackling that after all the other stuff that they're tackling. So it'll be really helpful. I've seen it, and it will be available right here as a view toggle. To answer Derek, who just joined. Yes, Derek, you will actually be able to see the recording of this when we send it out, but just very quickly, we've talked about changes to the Slideout and how that's going to be constant across the entire app. The ability to add multiple objectives, archiving objectives, and selecting whether objectives are product specific or for the entire set of products that you have. You now have access to add card owners, set impact and effort, and of course have discussions within roadmap cards. So all of that is available right here. But that's the TLDR version. You can definitely watch this back when we send it out, I believe tomorrow or Monday.
And with regards to the upcoming stuff, we've got the customization of cards, we've got the ability to duplicate cards and other content in the product, as well as moving cards between products. With regards to timing for this, I mean, it is in the development sprints at the minute, so it's fairly soon.
It's now. We don't give times, you guys. Come on. Yes, you're very welcome. For the long version, watch this back later. Cool. Well, we've been here for a full 21 minutes. Thank you guys for joining us. I don't know if there's any last-minute questions. If not, we'll let you guys go. But as always, you can always reach us on Twitter. If you guys are in the community, you can ping us in the community. If you're not in the community yet, drop me a line. And I'll add you to the community because it's definitely the best place to be, particularly if you want to be involved in user testing and beta testing and kind of get a sneak peek at all the cool stuff that the team is working on. So with that said, I hope you guys are having a jolly January. We're not freezing as we are over here. Oh, last minute question. In the idea section, are we able to filter all new ideas by themes? Not yet. But it has been requested, so it's in our backlog.
Yeah, filtering is another project I'd like to tackle at some point soon. So it's going to, ideally, we'll look at improving filtering throughout the entire product rather than just the sort of roadmap-specific filters.
Sure. I'd like to see filtering. Cool, you're very welcome, Diego. All right, well, we will let you guys go. If you arrive late, like I said, no worries. We will be sending this out, and you are all very welcome. Thanks for joining, everyone.
Thanks.